Thank you all for coming. And it's been a great pleasure to, a lot of work as well, but also a great pleasure to organize this conference. I will give some short introduction. The local organization for this conference is the Research Center for Quantum Information, the Institute of Physics, where I work on, and most of the organizers. The CUTA, the National Center for Quantum Technologies, which is an organization who is sponsoring events and things for the research. And we have a partial funding from the Viscunian Agentura. And this conference is mostly covered by two cost actions, which is the RQI cost action and the BridgeQG cost action. So just one very quick note. RQI cost action is different from the international sites for RQI. One came from the other. They have a huge overlap between people, but they are different stuff. And this both RQI and BridgeQG cost actions, they are funded by a cost action, which is something from European Union. And there are some rules that we didn't create. It was not Haris or Julia who are the leaders of the cost actions, or me who organized the conference, but someone else in the administration of cost action, which is, if you want to have the funding for this conference, you must please sign the list every day. Just to introduce you now, some motivations for this conference, what came in my mind initially for, I'm not briefing, for creating this conference, for thinking on the topics. So I was discussing with many people for getting that, and many things that are coming to my mind. So first, I will talk about my personal motivation for this conference. So I work on causality in quantum physics, and many expressions and words I come across, and many times with different meanings by different authors, by different fields. So for instance, causal order of events, or causal order of operations, causality. And when I talk about causality, I may talk about cause and effect, or causal structure. And causal structure is necessarily a causal structure of space-time. Or could I tell consistently about weird situations like a superposition of past and future, or closed time-like curves in quantum mechanics somehow? And talking with others during the last RQI North conference, I came out with other set of questions in my mind that I saw there was a huge overlap with others that was about observers and quantum reference frames. So we talk very often about reference frames or quantum reference frames. But what it has to do with observers or quantum observers, whatever does it mean? Here I'm just giving these expressions in a loose way, okay? Or could I talk about classical agents in a quantum space-time, or are they necessarily quantum agents if they are in a quantum space-time? What are the differences between observers, observables, measurements when we have our frameworks? And if I have a quantum space-time, who computes the probabilities that I can observe there? Or how, whatever the space-time, but just think about the quantum frame. If I have a quantum system who is computing probabilities, what does it necessarily mean? And all these questions has to do with questions from both cost actions. So just for introduce very briefly, what are the two? RQI cost action have three scientific working groups. Working quantum field theory aspects of quantum information, gravitational quantum physics and metrology, and time, causality, and memory in quantum physics. I am a co-leader of this last one, and causality is the main topic here. And from BridgeQG, we have high energy in theory and experiment, low energy for gravitational effects, and low energy for precisions involving gravity, and WG5, which is a connection between low energy and high energy quantum gravity. And all of these working groups, they have many topics, many different topics. So here I will just mention those that are related to this conference, okay? Just for some motivations. Well, here we are mostly, it's a conference mostly covered on more theoretical aspects, even though we don't rule out experiments. We are more focused on the theory. And for the working group 1, we have some aspects on relativistic causality and covariance. For working group 2, reference frames as quantum systems, theoretical analysis and implications to gravitational physics. And working group 3, which is the highest overlap, we can talk about relativistic aspects of causal order, gravity-induced and quantum causal order of events, first principles emergence of time and causal order. And for BridgeQG, we have for high energy in quantum gravity, they want to explore quantum observers and the quantum structure of space-time. And for working group 3, quantum reference frames in quantum mechanics. And the 5, clarify the notions of observers in quantum information, quantum gravity. These are quoted, adapted sentences from the both Memorandums of Understandings. You can take these texts on the website if you wanted to know in more detail of the what sessions are doing. And what both have in common is that they want to create a common language and a common framework among the different communities. And this is why here we have many invited speakers and also speakers from quantum gravity, from quantum information, and different approaches in quantum gravity. And one promised output from BridgeQG is a survey on notions of observers and quantum information in gravity. And one of the goals of this conference is to foster this work. And one promised output from RCQI is a review of WG3 topics, and this will be discussed on Thursday in the WG3 meeting. You can see that on the schedule. This conference, my initial plan was to have the first day talking about causality in classical and quantum gravity, focused more on that. Second, quantum causal structure, more quantum information side. Third, observers and reference frames for quantum gravity. And the third one, we would have some mixed topics, quantum reference frames, time, measurement, quantum field theory, and causality. But then, in the meanwhile, some people decide to leave early, some people decide to arrive later, and then it's not perfect matching, so I have to rearrange some people, but it's mostly like this, the idea of the program. And with this, I thank you very much for your attention, and wish you a nice conference, and please don't forget to sign the list.